listen in and learn from
the best in e-commerce. You're listening to E-Commerce All-Stars with Josh Marsden.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to E-Commerce All-Stars. I've got an awesome all-star right here in front of you. I've got Ed O'Keefe. We've got an incredible episode lined up for you today. So a little bit about Ed, and Ed can definitely tell you a little more about himself, but he is a father of 7, and he's a serial entrepreneur, and he's extremely well known in the health and fitness and nutrition niche when it comes to e-commerce. He's done incredible numbers in that niche, and I'll let him tell you more about that. But Ed is just an awesome guy to have here on the show. You're going to love this episode. Ed, welcome to E-Commerce All-Stars.
Hey, Josh. Hey, everybody. I'm excited to be here. Love what you're doing. Love to be a part of it. I love all the guests you already had on. I mean, this is amazing. So I'm honored and grateful to be here. This is awesome.
Yeah. Well, right back at you. I mean, I'm seriously very grateful to have you on here. Ed, I've been, following you over the past few years, and I've seen a lot of your stuff. And, we talked back in, I don't know when it was, but 2015 or something.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Build Your Utopia, my old podcast. So yeah, it's been a while, man. So what's
cool, man?
Yeah. So what's been going on in your world since the last time we connected?
Well, I don't know. I see if I had any more children, or my wife and I should include her in that as well. Give her credit. So, So I think exciting things. I think, was that before I did Kokoro Camp or after?
I think it was leading up to it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, some of the cool stuff outside of business, we'll talk about that. I did Kokoro Camp. I think I was Kokoro 40, which was 3 years ago. And the positive thing, if no one knows what that is, it's a 52-hour mini Hell Week experience. You don't sleep. They try and put you through a mini Hell Week experience. And I wanted to do that for my 40th birthday. And the reason I share that is because it actually led me down a path of doing more endurance and adventure stuff. But the reason I share that is because in the quality of people that I had met since then, and now spend a lot more time with, it just kept up leveling. And it really, what I kind of needed, I think as you get a little bit older, there's this false mentality and this is true in business as well, I think, where your best years are behind you, you're missing your window. And it kind of found me at the right time to say, look, your best years are ahead of yourself. You haven't even scratched the surface. And there's so many great things that you can do. And you're a lot stronger than you think you are, right? So it's kind of the mindset side. And I think that when I run into a lot of, and we'll do a little mindset stuff here in the beginning, because with our programs, what I specifically do now is I've invested in a couple food brands, superfood businesses, and I run a health supplement business. But one of my training development companies, which we'll talk about a little bit today, I can give examples of stuff people can actually implement, is designed specifically helping people in the health, fitness, and nutrition business who are selling e-com products. They're trying to grow their brand, all that, and they don't know the best way to do it. We show them the right proven models. What I want to share with you was, it's amazing how many people that we've talked to, either through my team members or even myself before they join the program, how many of them feel bad about their progress and their lack of progress, or they feel like they're hitting a ceiling, or they've plateaued. And it's a lot of frustration, man, I should be doing better than this. And, what I want to say is, first of all, we're all there. We all feel like there's more, right? And that we could be doing better. But secondly, I want to always say, the thing that's gotten you here is part of the formulation that's going to get you where you want to go. You just kind of got to choose how you want to interpret this. Do you want to play offense, or do you want to continue to play defense based on some of these scenarios? And so, so for us, playing offense is figuring out who's making it work. How are they making it work? How do we be unique? How do we formulate that messaging? How do we build the store? All that stuff is tactical and strategical. But I just want to tell people out of the gate, if you're out there and you're like, man, I feel like I'm 50. I thought I was going to be further ahead. I'm 40. I thought I was going to, well, everyone does. So you're not alone, and let's get to work. Yeah.
I mean, for me, I'm 37 in a week. Is that right? Yep. A week up today. So on Halloween, I turned 37. So I'm getting a little bit older. Um, and so I kind of resonate with that because I have my moments, where, I do feel like this burden of stress, this burden of like pressure. And I really have to internalize it to give my best effort when that happens. And actually, I kind of take it the way you just put it. Do I go on defense and like let it get to me, or do I go on offense and attack? And I've been, lately, especially when I felt some of that pressure, that urgency, I've decided basically put myself into the mindset of I'm going to be on offense. I get fired up and I just kind of, I go after it. And honestly, I feel a little angry in a way when I get to that point, but I use that anger as like basically like fuel to give my best effort and to overcome like that stress that I'm feeling.
Yeah. Well, if that works for you, let me tell you, do you mind if I share a story that one of my speakers shared? It just dawned on me as we were talking here because his name is David Turner. He is an entrepreneur. He bought Tyler Perry's mansion for like, I don't know, $7 million, something like that. And he, I don't know what he sold his business for, but what he was doing was he was selling like beans, like commodities. He figured out not as a trader, but actually as a part of the distribution channel. And he figured out how to make everybody win. He did an amazing job, but his company was doing like $250 million a year. He ends up selling it. After he sold it, he said, he's like, my wife and I, or he's like, I'm buying a farm, and I'm going to go back and have to look at this, but everyone will get the metaphor and the analogy of it. Is he said, I'm buying a farm. I bought all this land, and what we decide to plant. He said, everybody. He said it's really difficult to make money in a farm that produces, I'm going to say beans, because it's a 6-month cycle. Like if you plant the seed, and within 6 months you can make your money back. Mm-hmm. But it's hard because everybody's in that market. Like it's a very busy market. He said, so my wife and I, we decided we're going to plant, I want to say fruit trees, but I also think that's wrong as well. But he said, this is what it does. He said, the type of trees we're planting or type of farm we're making, you don't make any money for 7 years. But after that, you will make a total amount of your investment back the first year, every year for the rest of your life. So by the 8th year, you make all your money back. By the 9th year, you make the same amount, and it's compounding. He said it's the easiest thing to ever do. He said, but why are there only a few people that invest in these types of farms? And he said, it's because no one's willing to wait 7 years to get all the profit. And he was great. He talked about everyone's looking for the next trick. Everyone's looking for like what's hot. He's like, well, what if you actually thought about what's going to still be around 7-10 years later? Jeff Bezos actually said this. People are always asking him as the CEO of Amazon, what is the next big thing? What's hot? And he says, we don't think that way. We tend to think of like what's still going to be here in 10 years mm-hmm. and how do we become the best at it? Mm-hmm. So what we can extract from that is immediately e-commerce is still going to be here, in 10 years. People are still going to go through an emotional buying cycle. There's platforms like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Google. I would argue those are all still going to have they're still going to be around in some formation. And then a bond with customers and selling high quality things. Those are kind of eternal truths, right? So I just want to encourage everybody that you're here. It's a great place to be. And I think I'll turn it over to you, Josh.
No, that makes sense, man. I mean, that's a good metaphor just on business in general. I mean, definitely e-commerce, but business in general, it takes time to reap, the profits of your work basically, sometimes. Yes. And you just have to be focused and stick to it instead of looking for that shiny object sometimes.
100%.
Yeah. So what got you started like in business? Just so the audience can get to know kind of your origins when it comes to e-commerce?
Yeah. So when I started, e-commerce wasn't even a word, right? I mean, I'm only 43. So I started about 20 years ago, right out of college, got my nursing degree, came home, told my parents I'm not going to nursing. That really went well. I was the first one to graduate. I have a family. I was the 12th of 13 kids.
Dang.
And, blue collar family, southside of Chicago. And I came home and I got my degree and I was like, I'm not going into nursing. That was an interesting time because I decided to be an entrepreneur, and being an entrepreneur meant being broke for the next 5 or 6 years trying to figure that out. Maybe not that long, but it was pretty close. And then I started learning direct response marketing, and I was really lucky. But I mean, I didn't have money to really buy a lot of this stuff. So I would buy the $49 newsletter, or, I think forums were becoming pretty new back then, where you could like pay $10 and get a membership, and I would just extract what I could and go. And so my first product was a mental toughness guide for athletes, being a former college athlete, coach, learned NLP, learned hypnosis, did all that cool stuff. I quickly realized that if I wanted to make real money, I'm not saying for people to do what I did. I'm saying, like, this was my thought process at the time, is that I discovered that the guys I was learning from were making way more money than me selling this ebook for $19 or in a video series for $29. Even though I was blessed and happy, I just was like, wow, I want to make more than 6 figures. I want to make So I ended up licensing the rights to a course that I ended up taking and going into the dental niche. And I started teaching dentists how to attract patients and niche their practice. And that was kind of even before like coaching was like a new thing back then. Like, I think Tony Robbins says he invented coaching, but I didn't think I learned it from him. I think like, one of someone who I was watching during that time was obviously Dan Kennedy was a mentor.
Sure.
I watched Joe Polish from afar. I didn't know Joe, but that's back when he was in the carpet cleaning days. He did an amazing job. Tim Paulson, these are names that some people might not know. But I quickly grew, Michael Jans, just to give credit to more people, like I quickly grew my coaching club, from say 6 to 10 people to having over 100 people in the coaching club, licensing the rights to some of our marketing materials, and doing multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, all between the ages of like 25 and 32. And I didn't know anything about dentistry. I had to learn it. I wasn't a dentist. So how do you do that? So I've gone into those markets. After that, I segued and I was like, well, what am I going to do next? Like, I have like 3 or 4 kids. I sold a portion of the business. And I decided to go into health supplement business. And so that's a market I've been into for about 10 years. I set some cool trends and precedents that got modeled and knocked off pretty heavily, which is part of the game. And now obviously I'm an investor in No Foods investor. I have another company I can't talk about yet that I'm hoping to be a partner in very soon that I would be really excited about. It's an e-commerce brand in the health space. And then I have my supplement business, and we're looking at rebranding some things there. But yeah, it's pretty exciting times.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I mean, you obviously took a huge risk, coming out of college, having a nursing degree, and then saying, you know what, I'm not going to go in that direction. I'm going to go in this direction. And,
no one ever told us though, when, like, in my family, it was getting a job meant you have everything.
Same here.
Benefits and getting a pension. Like, those are things, I don't have any of those things now. So it's like, I don't have any of those things, but I have more freedom than my siblings and people that are in those situations. Right.
Sure. Yeah.
So I had to reorganize my relationship with life. I think a couple of audio tapes I listened to, and I could go deeper in that, but that definitely were like, you can do anything you want. And I was like, wow, if I could do anything I want, then why would I want to go be a nurse on a floor? It's perfect for some people. But for me, I was like, well, what could I do? I read Think and Grow Rich. I said, all those questions start coming in. Once you get that bug, it is, you become unemployable. So
yeah. Well, everything happens for a reason, obviously. Fast forward 15, 17 years later. I'm just estimating, but and now look where you're at. So I mean, everything happens for a reason. What were some of your early influences when it comes to direct response marketing? Besides like Dan Kennedy.
Well, I think Dan Kennedy was important. Corey Rudel, I don't know if you know that name at all. Corey Rudel was actually probably the godfather of all internet marketing, because at the time it was like him, Ken McCarthy, which then they birthed out in combination with Dan Kennedy and Jeff Paul, like Yannick Silver, Ryan Dice, Perry Belcher. I mean, all these guys, and Roland Fraser's a good friend of mine. I don't know if he would agree. Like, I don't know if he would say he came out of that same world, because he might have came out of the infomercial world, so that was a little bit of a different world. Mm-hmm. Ryan Lee interviewed me. I think we were like 24, 23, or no, like 25, 26, and he was running a nutrition like interview series. So like Perry Marshall came out of that time. And so all those guys now have their own tribes. They all do phenomenal work. And like Joe Polish, Genius Network. And so what I've noticed is that there's been like this, a great thing has happened because of the internet. And I think the speed of social media is you got all these really good, talented people with direct response marketing. And then you have people that come with super high quality, value giving products or services or ideas. And that when those worlds have collided, I really think you see just amazing value being given. And so there's an acceleration there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't know all those names. I knew a decent amount of those names, but, they all have been just powerful influences for a lot of people in the internet marketing world. And it sounds like they really helped you early on, which is awesome. Yeah. What has been your biggest e-com success to date that you wouldn't mind, speaking to and sharing with the audience? Yeah,
I mean, when it comes to flat out, I mean, I can tell you a couple of ones, but
sure.
The biggest one from a Marine Essentials perspective, my supplement business, and I don't have the exact pages to show you guys, but I have like a simple thing we were doing. Can I show my screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So
you can do that.
Yeah. So this is a presentation I give to my clients. And one of the key things here is, there you go. All right. Is we were doing like 200,000 a month. So when I went into the supplement business, one of the things that I started off in direct mail because FTC was cracking down on free trials. I had lost money trying to do a free trial because of fraud, and there's so much crap out there. It's amazing. You just got to know, who to trust. But so I went in direct mail, and in direct mail, we got up to like mailing like 800,000 pieces through the mail. It was profitable on paper, but it wasn't profitable from a cash flow perspective. It was very money sucking. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so,
why was that? Why was that happening?
Well, because when you send out direct mail, let's say you're going to send out, let's just take a number like, let's say you're going to send out 100,000 direct mail pieces. You have to pay for postage up front. You can't wait for. Mm-hmm. Because you have to mail the thing. Mm-hmm. Printing, usually you have probably half up front, half within 15, 30 days. And then you need product, right? So now you have all these front-loaded costs at day zero that, and if you're mailing 100,000, let's say you get a 1% conversion rate, you need, that's 1,000 sales. Let's say the average ticket is I'll make this number up. $127, $147, right? That's pretty good. And some of those numbers were a little bit higher, a little bit less. But the thing is that money does not come in within 1 to 5 days.
Right.
Usually at day 15, about half the money has come in. So you spent, say, $100,000, not even including your product, and now you only have $50,000 to $60,000 in at day 12, day 15. Mail keeps dropping and response rates keep coming. Your full cash flow cycle is more like 45 days that you'll get up to 147,000. Now, if you want to turn that over and go now to 200,000 the next month, that means again, now you need $200,000 worth of postage. You need $200,000 worth of, for you to grow, you just need deeper pockets. You probably need 3 to 6 months worth of cash flow before you even start.
Yeah,
that's why when people say to me like, Ed, why aren't you in direct mail? I'm like, well, because I don't want to lend 600 or 6 months of cash flow to a business. Like, why do that? You can do the exact opposite on Facebook. You can use your American Express card or your credit card and test ads. Once the money comes in, then 30 days later you can pay for so you flip the whole cash flow cycle,
Right.
You obviously have to do that intelligently. You have to know what you're doing. You got to test small, and there's a methodology that I'm happy to go into on testing. But one of the things that I noticed was that we were around 200,000 a month, and we were struggling cash flow wise. And so I was going online. I'm like, I'm doing anything it takes to make it work online. And Josh, at that point, what we were doing a lot of was direct email solo ads as a way to grow the business, and affiliate marketing or email cost per click marketing. There's not as much of the third-party data emailing like anymore, but there's definitely affiliates you can have promote your product. Now, the thing that we did, what we were doing, this is a good lesson for everybody, is that usually if you're having problems with conversion rate or just profitability, the first question that I would want to ask people is like, okay, well, let's strip everything else you're doing down to this. Who is the one level 10 customer? Okay. Like that they're the highest paying, they're the most enjoyable to deal with. They're the most profitable. They appreciate your brand. They're going to repurchase, all that fun jazz. I know it's a simple exercise. I know everybody's like, oh, I already know this, but most people don't do that because you're hitting singles with your level 8 customer. Why leave out the level 7 customer? Well, if the level 5 customer works, we could quadruple my business, right? Like these are all the thoughts. Trust me, I've been there. I understand it. Your media buyers want to scale faster. Anyone who has opportunities to make money with you, they all want to scale. And when it comes to cash flow and profitability, a big shift that's happened in my head is that if we can't profitably grow with this level 10 customer, we don't have a business. Like we just don't. We shouldn't spend any more money outside of this customer. Now, Facebook, Instagram, even probably YouTube now, you could do, I'm not saying don't do broad targeting, but do tight messaging.
Yeah.
So people who are clicking.
Like the perfect level 10.
Yeah.
Can be your funnel.
Yeah.
You're listening to E-Commerce All-Stars. We'll be right back after this message.
E-Commerce All-Stars.
Do you want the best results possible for your business using Facebook advertising? By listening to this show, you know the impact that listening to some of the best and brightest in e-commerce can have for your business. Right now, you can do the same for your Facebook advertising in Josh's powerful new book. In this book, some of the best Facebook advertisers for e-commerce that have collectively spent millions on advertising have revealed their powerful strategies and tips for getting the most out of every dollar spent on Facebook ads. Every contributor has also given their wisdom on how your business can stay ahead of the trends happening right now, so you can win into 2019 with Facebook ads without risking advertising dollars. Molly Pittman, J. Trevor Chapman, David Schloss, Sam Bell, Josh Marston, and many more have truly given their best stuff in this book, Facebook Advertising Trends and Strategies for E-Commerce, the 2019 edition.
The best in e-commerce. E-Commerce All-Stars.
But I love where you're going with this. You're talking about basically just leveraging the 80-20 principle.
Yeah, and maybe in some levels you're going 95.5 if you're really not. But I'll go deeper. So what I did is I looked at my customer base, and what I realized was we were getting a lot of testimonials of like people that our supplements help them with their blood pressure. Okay. Prior to that, we were doing like these 3 deep sea ingredients can help you live, like anti-aging, like live longer, good energy, healthy heart, joint pain. Like it was like kind of a broad strokes approach, which works in direct mail because that you're only mailing to supplement buyers. You're not going super, super, super broad. And so then the question when they open that is like, okay, what's different about this product? And then the story about why it's different, it becomes the most important thing. But with email, you're trying to get the supplement buyers to raise their hand and come to you, right? So that's the other thing. Okay, so what I did 2 things that worked like gangbusters. Anytime I work with clients, I'm still amazed that not everyone is doing this because I thought I've told everybody this strategy. No, I really have. So what we did was I rewrote the video sales letter, and all I did was replace the introduction with pretty much, I think the headline was something like, are you suffering with high blood pressure? Finally, Deep Sea Miracle can help you have healthy blood pressure. Blah. Like it wasn't too claimy, and my conversion rate, I think, almost doubled, right? Instantly. Okay. Just by sub-niching from a little more broad-based to that. So
very specific, okay.
The diagram here is a level 10 solution. Oh, yeah. So by improving our focus on solving a bigger pain, because people that have like a bigger pain are more hyper-responsive to buy than somebody who's just trying to feel better, live longer. Mm-hmm. It's not sexy at all. Yep. And then we targeted. So we targeted better. So we had a level 10 customer, targeted better. And then we just fixed our financials. And I'll tell you what we did. So usually the second part of this is like, okay, I got my targeting dialed in. I got my messaging dialed in.
Yeah. Do you think we could maybe kind of deep dive into that for a sec before jump into the cash flow and how you guys were able to handle the cash flow side here? I'd love to hear more about your methodology on testing and also how did you go about identifying, that level 10 customer? I'd love to hear more about that.
Well, I think sometimes you have to launch and the level 10 customer appears because of the data. Mm-hmm. So there's that old phrase of like, I think it was Nito Cobain who told the story of like, hey, I was touring his new university and they were telling him like, oh, we're going to build an amazing sidewalk right here and all the kids are going to be able to walk. And he looked on the grass and he noticed that the grass had a brown pathway. And he's like, well, all your students are telling you that this is where the sidewalk should be because that's where they're walking. Right. So for us, it was I think it was simple because it was simple and obvious, but we weren't thinking this way. I think it was like, well, we kept getting these testimonials and where they're all about like, wow, I dropped my blood pressure to this. And we're like, this is not a product designed for blood pressure. Mm-hmm. And I spoke to the doctor who we had hired to help us with the formulation. And he said, well, since the 3 ingredients are designed to squelch inflammation in the body and high blood pressure is actually a byproduct of like if someone has a lot of inflammation in their body, then you have, I can get more technical on the, you have more restriction in the arteries, which then increases the, makes it harder for the blood to pump. And that's obviously higher blood pressure. So when we saw that, we're like, well, we have some other things that so we didn't even just do it only for blood pressure. We've done this like a joint pain angle. We did this for a memory angle and it worked. None of it worked as good as it did for blood pressure. Okay.
Okay.
So that's it.
And so you saw that in the actual results.
What's that?
I'm sorry. You saw that in the actual results when you were testing, basically different pain points that you were like really laser focused on. as, the specific messaging that you're putting into your copy, it sounds like. Does that sound right?
Correct.
And you saw that kind of rising to the top?
So like if we have, I'll give everybody another example. Like, so in the food business, right? Say we're selling a gluten-free, keto-friendly, low-carb pancake or waffle. Those markets could actually cater to keto, and it can cater to the mom at home who's trying to cook healthy stuff. So where do you go with it? And I think that's where like you have to have enough intelligence to say, okay, well, we don't know. So we're going to run a set of ads to this, send them to this lander. We're going to run a set of ads like this, send this lander. And we're going to look at a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day attribution window. And if you're really, really cash tight, you just have lower budgets. Right. Like people are like, well, I can't do that because of this. No, yes, you can do this. You have to do this if, it's a simple split test. Now, Can I say
makes sense.
The one thing we did that helped financials extraordinarily well was since I was targeting tighter and with a bigger pain, I was able to raise my prices. So where prior we were selling a one bottle for, I think, $39.95 or $49.95, we raised one bottle to $69.95. 4 bottles were so we had a 1 bottle, 2 bottle, and 4 bottle offer, and it was 1 bottle for $69, 2 bottles for $119, and 4 bottles for $199. And then the craziest thing that ever happened, Josh, was our next upsell was more bottles of the same exact product.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have only tested this. I saw someone doing this, and I thought it was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. And so instead of judging it, which I already judged it, but I owed, I ran it. Mm-hmm. And I swear to you, man, our average transaction size went from $149 per customer to $230 to $240 on some traffic sources, even higher on some other traffic sources overnight.
Wow.
That was the biggest change. We were able to scale the business to about $3 million a month at one point. And then competition came in, some other issues came in, but that was that little tick, those 3 ticks I just gave your audience. You have to test it based on your market, but please think through this, because if you want to think about the only leverage point, the most important leverage point in your entire financial life is this little component, right? So one of the businesses I'm looking at purchasing right now, they are not doing what I just described. They're doing a lot of other things correct. They have a phenomenal product. They have a great market, and they are just kind of hovering. They're not growing rapidly, and they don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
So if the deal goes through, the first thing I'm going to do is fix what I'm showing everybody on this chart right here.
Okay.
And it may double the business overnight.
Yeah. Just so sounds like, making the tweaks on maybe identifying the specific kind of level 10 customer with the specific message that you can put into, their marketing to be able to attract more of those level 10 customers. And then also maybe enhancing their funnel with that upsell that you just showed us, it sounds like. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's other stuff you'll do, but it sounds like those two are kind of like some of the quick wins possibly that you can just jump in there and help them apply to their business.
Yeah. And, a lot of people don't think about that. I mean, I'm amazed at how many people don't have just upsells like in their flow.
I know. I
mean, it's amazing. Or they think too small in the flow. And like, we even have a client recently that they came with me, they're doing a $1, 7-day boot camp or something like that, which is a great offer, by the way. Like, especially if you're selling any kind of things that are consumable or you want to get people habitually into, give them away, like doing a $1 free plus shipping, even a free type thing where you're creating one pain or you're solving one pain, but by doing so, you create more needs and, pains like, well, I don't have a jump rope. You're telling me I need a jump rope. I don't have the bands. I don't have the special thing for my keto plan. Like whatever it might be for you, solve one problem, which creates goodwill, but then it creates 3 more problems. That's a great way to build a loyal customer base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what other strategies are working really well in your e-commerce properties right now that you wouldn't mind sharing with the audience?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think, let me share this one little case study and I'll explain it a little bit. We took over a food brand that is the return on ad spend. That is the return on ad spend of the month prior that we took over this health.
Oh, wow. Okay. Got it.
It's all negative. It's all negative.
Yeah.
And so the day before we took it over, it was beginning of January. This was only a little bit of retargeting. They're spending some money. And then in 5 days, we came in, spent $17,690, generated $52,894 at 2.99 return ad spend. That's 1,200 customers. Within 14 days, we were able to spend $100,000, just under $100,000, generate $239,000 at a 2.41 return ad spend. So within 3 weeks, again, almost $200,000 spend, $414,000 revenue at a 2.09 return ad spend. So the 30-day window on that was we generated 20,000 customers, 1.80 return ad spend, 800,000 in revenue. How we did that, let me see if I got this right here. I want to show you something that we did. One of the things we did was, the other thing I want to tell you about, this was a non-optimized e-commerce Shopify page.
Okay. Wow.
The market was super hyper responsive. And we did a lot of demonstration videos. Demonstration videos. Let me pause my screen. I'll bring up an example of one right now that's working. So what happened was the company we were working with, they went through a weird executive changeover. So my team was out, and there's still potential we may come back in, but it's just got to be on better terms, to put it that way. Just want to show you something real quick. So there's a couple companies right now that are doing fantastic work, and I'm going to pull it up for you because with the info and ads. Josh, do you think everybody's pretty much familiar with that? Facebook?
I would hope so. And if not, they could see that it's now possible to look at, a Facebook business page and see what ads they're running.
Yeah, I'll show everybody right now, like an example. So it's not, we just even walk through it, right? So,
yeah. So with that example, it sounds like you were just running traffic directly to their Shopify store, and their Shopify store wasn't optimized.
Oh my God. No upsells. I mean, it was crazy. And so that was our return ad spend.
Yeah.
Like that. And they were looking for, the CEO at the time was looking for fast growth. So this is an example of like BioTrust. BioTrust has a great reputation. Most people know who they are, blah, blah, blah. It's all good. But if I go down to info and ads, if you guys can see my cursor,
yep.
As it's loading, I don't need to load. You'll see a bunch of their ads. Now, BioTrust made a big shift over the last few years where they are doing, let me make sure, there you go, cool. Okay, so this is an example right here. This is a straight, what I would call pitch ad. You got a guy, he's got his collagen protein. Can you see that, Josh, just to make sure? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he's going to pitch it, right?
Coach Tim here from BioTrust. Now, I'm sure you're already aware of some of the benefits of collagen. In fact, you may be shopping for some.
So like that language pattern, I just want to show everybody, like, hey, I'm sure you're aware of this, or why are so many people raving about XYZ? It creates like a social proof thing that's like, well, no, I'm not even aware of it, blah, blah, blah. So he's doing a straight pitch, which is good. But this is like, this is an ad that these types of ads are exactly what we were using with No Foods. That it was like pancakes, healthy syrup all over it, gluten-free, grain-free, dairy-free, boom, keto-friendly. And this little video ads, it's 1 minute long. And right out of the gate, add ageless collagen. So this grabs the coffee drinker, who's looking for something to make them, this is an easy thing that mentally I can see myself doing this tomorrow. And I'm super, super happy with it. Right.
Right.
And then let me show you guys one more if I can pull it up. But those are demonstration video ads. And the cool thing about that is that's where then that is just the beginning now where all my retargeting starts after that. And what most people I think are not realizing, I shouldn't frame it that way. What I just think like you just got to keep, this is a better way of framing it. You got to keep reminding yourself that so much of your sales are going to come after that initial engagement because they're interested, they're doing stuff. This is one of my clients. And
you talking about that acquiring the customer on the front end, even if it's not profitable, you'll make your money back on the back end. Is that what you're referring to?
Well, you want to make money. Here's what I say. Like,
okay.
You want to make money day zero, like, right? You want to make money day zero. You know, we have to,
right.
But depending on, like, I just had Nick Shackelford on one of our trainings with my, he's a great guy, by the way. If you want a good traffic guy to come talk, I can do the intro. Nick Shackelford was talking about how if you look at day one, this might be a little advanced, but this is what you guys want, right? If you look at day one return on ad spend, then you compare it to day 28 attribution. So I got my return ad spend day one. What's my return ad spend on that same click on day 28? And then the reason this is so important is because now I know that, hey, you know, like during the holidays, it's hard to compete against all the big brands pushing for revenue, correct? Or pushing advertising down Facebook's throat. CPMs go up. It's across the board. So what you got to do is you have to spend more money prior. You got to do more cold marketing prior to that to build your lookalike audiences and your custom audiences, right, so that during those times you pause or at least drop your budget to 10% on the cold stuff because the CPMs are going to be way too high.
Right.
And then you double, triple, quadruple your budget only to your custom built up audiences.
Right.
And that's how you can really, really,
that's exactly what we're doing with some of our clients too, that we're running ads for as well. So yeah, that makes sense. For sure that, you know, with the holidays, competition going up and CPMs going up, you know, right now is the time to kind of build that audience and double down on doing that now. It's just where you have more, you know, lower cost audiences that you can market to get people into your funnel profitably.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, cool. Well, you know, thanks for sharing all that. I really do appreciate it. I know we're getting towards the end here, so I think this is a good time to kind of transition.
You got me warmed up, Josh. I mean, I guess I gotta like create like a bunch of training modules because I'm in training mode right now. This is great.
Well, I don't want to, you know, cut you off. If you got something you want to throw out there right now that, you know, you feel like, you know, you want to throw out to the audience, by all means, you know, just let's do it.
Yeah, I'm looking for a couple slides. I just want to give a shout out to Ryan Skelly was the media buyer that I was working really closely with when we were scaling those campaigns. He does a great job.
Nice.
Okay. So would your audience be familiar with who Tim Bird is?
Possibly. I know he's a big Facebook. Well, he's just a big advertiser, not just Facebook. Yeah. But I know he's a big advertiser out there.
So one of the things that Tim taught us was, and I watched this on a video training, by the way, was this idea of like what he calls the surfing method with his ad budgets. And I'm gonna give the overview of it. I'm looking for a slide on my slide deck right here to see if I have it. I may, but it's looking like it's not coming up. But what Tim would say is he's like, hey, in the morning, so like the biggest problem a lot of people have is like, well, how do I scale my campaigns, correct? Like I always, you know, my budgets are messed up. I'm having a hard time scaling. So one of the things that Tim would say is like, well, one strategy you can try, but like, let's say we have 40 ad sets and we want to spend $6,000. and we're currently spending $3,000 a day, but we also don't want to lose money by jumping from $3,000 to $6,000, right? So what he says is like across 40 ad sets, you just you budget out with the goal of spending $10,000 the next that day. Okay, and I may get this a little wrong because I don't have it in front of me, but so then you let it run. I think you start at midnight. At 6 a.m., you look at anything that is has zero conversions, completely tanking. You pause those. If anything is within range of being break even, you let it run till noon. Again, you kind of do the same thing at noon. You pause another. If there's something that has zero conversions on it, you pause it. Then you let all the rest of it. Because you got to remember now, the rest of it going all the way till I think like 4 to 5 p.m. and peak traffic times, from what I understand on Facebook, is between I think 6 and 9 p.m. Is that accurate, or 10 p.m.?
Sounds about right.
You pause anything that's not profitable, and then you double the budgets on things that are profitable. And so so imagine like your whole day, for 3/4 of the day, you are at say break even or slightly negative, but you have ad sets that are profitable. For some reason that day, the algorithm is just favoring it. It's got momentum, and you increase the budgets on that. The good budget goes towards that, and you're able to spend a lot more during peak traffic times on ad sets that are already winning. And that's how we went from like spending $1,500 a day to $6,000 to $12,000 to $15,000 to $17,000 to $25,000. And we were able to do it without, I think everyone's fear, especially when it comes to spending money, is, well, if I'm going to go spend $6,000, what happens if I lose money today? I might lose it. And so what he really helped us with was the mindset of people are living day to day on Facebook, and they're making a lot of rash decisions and pausing campaigns too soon, pausing ad sets too soon. And sometimes just, it's an algorithm system. So you have a winning ad. Well, that day by noon, it just might not be winning that day, And so instead of having that fluctuations over a week, you're like, well, I'm break even on the week. Well, on the days it was profitable, you maximized it. And on days it wasn't profitable, you paused it. You can automate all this stuff. If you have small campaigns, you can test that out. That's worth testing out.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you can do that manually, obviously.
We did it. We were doing it manually, by the way. Just, if you're going to keep expanding,
it's the safest way. I mean, instead of just using the rules, because you could build in automated rules within Facebook and then tell Facebook to turn off an ad set when it reaches a certain threshold if you wanted to. But it makes more sense to do it manually, especially if you're spending a lot of money.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but that's okay. So that's cool. So it sounds like with that, a wave strategy, we'll just call it that you're doubling down on what's working during the right time when the most results will come in.
Correct.
Which is awesome.
So if you looked at our budget throughout the day, and I had a slide on this, but it's it looks like a wave where it keeps getting bigger and bigger. Where we had another media agency inside the same ad account, and all their spend was happening between 9 a.m. and noon. And so then theirs was coming like that when ours was actually just going up. And they were, I showed you guys the stats. So we were at 0.8 was on the whole spend. That was our worst return ad spend. They were at 0.0. They were at 0.8. They could not figure out. We were selling the same exact products, yet they were getting completely different results. So it was a little bit of the messaging. I felt like their messaging was not geared towards the right customer. Yeah. But anyhow.
And so how do you take that in a 24-hour window and then make it into a week or even? Well,
you reset them all.
Oh,
you reset them all.
Okay.
Yeah, you kill things, I think, based on a 3 or 5 day window, but he resets everything again at midnight. Everything resets at midnight.
Okay. So you turn everything back on?
Everything, yeah, exactly.
And you micromanage everything again and go through that same process the next day and so forth?
Yeah.
Okay. And in the budgets, do you bring the budgets down or do you keep the budgets where they're at from the previous day when
Yeah, I would say the budgets we were growing our budgets. So that's what the key was of growing it. And after, I mean, obviously if you get ad fatigue on certain things, you got to either pause them or lower them, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, sounds like a cool strategy. We need to test because we haven't used that specific strategy. So
the other thing I would just say too is if you guys have a winner, see how broad you can go, like how many less interests you can have, because if you have enough data and you're looking for a really broad lookalike audience and you have website conversion as your goal, Facebook's way smarter than any of us ever will be. So let Facebook go out and find your best customers.
Yeah, there seems to be more and more, success stories on Facebook, more and more with people doing like broad targeting and seeing results and ROI from that, which is crazy, just compared to what it was 2-3 years ago. I mean, Facebook's really made some massive improvements to their algorithm and how they're getting you results as an advertiser.
Yeah, 100%, buddy. 100%.
Yeah. Awesome, man. We're about to go into the bonus round just to kind of close out today. Really appreciate you being on here. So this bonus round's, simple but fun. Basically, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you have to answer each question with only one word.
Ooh. No, I didn't cheat. I don't even know if you sent me over these, so I don't know. This would be good. I feel like I'm on the spot. This is great.
Nice. Well, good. That's the point. I definitely want to put you on the spot here. So, what caused your biggest e-com success to date?
Persistence.
Okay. And, this is actually not in the questions, but, is there anything you do, maybe some sort of practice or some sort of mindset hack or anything along those lines that you do to stay persistent at all times?
One word?
This isn't a bonus question word. This is
cool. Yeah. I mean, I would say the biggest thing is I imagine I'm being interviewed by like someone and I'm telling my story. I tell my story already being where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like as if I used to do it where I was being interviewed by Oprah because she was big and famous back then. Now she's just a billionaire that's not famous anymore. What I mean? But now it's just like
her life's terrible.
You have to be able to speak it and how it's going to play out. So I do that. I will do that. Yeah.
Intention, it sounds like. So it sounds like you really focus on intention, just focusing on that.
Yes.
That's awesome. Okay. All right. Back to the one word answers.
Yeah.
So what got you through your toughest moments as a business owner?
I would say these are one word. Then I would say faith.
Faith? Okay.
Faith. TH. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. And then how would you describe yourself?
First word was going to be persistent. So that's the first word. I could probably
we can stick to that. You can use that with two different questions. That's fine. And then how does 2019 look for you?
Did I say persistent on the first one?
You did. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, and maybe I just say, okay, so then the second thing I would say is just very loving. That would be the one, like, how would I describe myself? I'm very loving. And then I immediately thought of my family, and I was like, well, but yeah, I mean, there's a fierce side of that just, is important.
Yeah. This is basically an off the record question, but I don't know how you can do what you do, with, 7 kids and, all the success you've had over the, past several years, and obviously maintaining a healthy, relationship with your wife. I mean, that's pretty incredible, just everything you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cool. So how does 2019, look for you, going back to that question in one word?
This is one word?
One word.
Oh, exciting. Very exciting.
Okay. That works. Awesome. All right, man. Well, cool. Well, Ed, how can people that are either watching or listening to this, how can they follow you after this episode?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. I have a podcast. It's Ed O'Keefe Show, The Uncommon Way. You can private message me, on Facebook at Ed O'Keefe, My personal one is the one where you obviously will see more of my kids. And then if someone wants coaching or training specifically, I only do it specifically in the health, fitness, nutrition, e-commerce space. We have webinars we're always putting out, and you can go to our fan page. You see a lot of cool stuff, but we're happy to help people. But the other thing I would say, Josh, a lot of the stuff I put on my Facebook business page is just designed. Obviously, we have to generate customers and help customers to make money, but it's really designed to like create value. And if we create value, people tend to either want to be part of the program or they just need to take advantage of the value. You know, so it's always a abundant way of living life. You know.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Okay, and that's your Facebook business page for the Ed O'Keefe Show. Is that right?
Ed O'Keefe Show.
Yeah, it's a great show. I've listened to it quite a bit. Cool. Well, sounds good, guys. Follow Ed. Definitely check out his podcast, The Ed O'Keefe Show, The Uncommon Way. And go to his business page and check out all the valuable content he puts out on his business page. Ed, it's been great. Thanks again for being on E-Commerce All-Stars, man. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Josh. See you, everybody.
Thank you for listening to E-Commerce All-Stars. By learning from the best, you're saving yourself time, money, and pain from trying to figure it out all by yourself. You can save yourself time, wasted advertising dollars, and stress from your Facebook ads right now by claiming a copy of Facebook Advertising Trends and Strategies for E-Commerce, the 2019 edition. You can generate more results than you've ever experienced with Facebook ads. You can adapt to the current trends happening right now that are affecting business owners from getting the best possible results on Facebook. And you can discover how to scale your Facebook advertising results. All of this is possible for your business by learning from 13 of the best Facebook advertising experts in the world by claiming your copy of Facebook Advertising Trends and Strategies for E-Commerce, the 2019 edition. Thanks for listening to E-Commerce All-Stars.
E-Commerce All-Stars.